Hello everybody. I wanted to start this video off with just telling you what you'll be looking forward to seeing when they start. I'd had a lot of these trees, starting them like this right from the, straight out of the nursery from Lowe's, Walmart, wherever I get them at. And as you can see, all three of these, they're the procumbens nanas that I picked up at Lowe's. And they're in three different stages. Like some of them, if they'll fit into the pots that I have, I'll put them in a pot without doing too much harm to the roots, since it's towards the end of summer. It's not really a good time to be potting them up. What I do with most of them, and I'm not going to have it in all my videos, is I've shown you guys before how to and if you are new to bass and bonsai, feel free to look back on some of those older videos. But basically just bring them up out of this pot by throwing some whatever material into the pot to where it raises this up, cleaning off the underneath, as you can see like I did in this one, with a root rake or whatever, a fork if nothing else. That's what I still use sometimes, is a fork. And you get them to this point. So most of my videos are probably going to start with them looking something like this, kind of a pre-bonsai look already. I've already cleaned out a little bit of the inside, not maybe 100%, but cleaning out the inside, opening up the tree a little bit, as simply as pulling these juvenile growth off the trunk and off the beginning of the branches. If it starts out green, it just gives it a more immature look, more like a bush instead of a tree. If you want it to start looking like a tree, you kind of clear out the insides of that growth, and then you'll pick out what you want to do. And the only reason this one looks a lot better is it's out of this nasty black pot because the roots weren't that deep, and I pretty much done the same thing to it as I did to this one, and it just has a more natural curvature and bends and style already, so it's going to make a good tree. But this is going to make a good tree also. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to it to help it along the way. And I will tell you real quick, when you're out looking at these guys, you're going to be looking like this. You're going to see down on them, try to look at the angle. And I always look for the ones that have height to them. They tend to have this extra, if you can make out this branch, that kind of cuts back a lot of times and goes over. And I tend to like that style, and it creates real cool bonsai without a ton of work. But you can still do it with well, let me check this one. This one may already have it too. But see, this one already has a top also, more or less. And it's going to make a cool bonsai without a ton of work. But you can do it without it. You don't have to have, any juniper could be styled to look cool. Now, what we're going to do today, that was just to show you guys what to be looking for in the future. If you wonder why I don't start, with them looking straight like that, I got them looking like this. Today, I'm going to take this bottom part here, and we're going to kill that whole thing off and show you how dramatic a change that makes just in the tree. So buckle up, hang on, here we go. Alright, today I'm going to show you how much of a dramatic change you can create on a tree. Give it just that much more character, sometimes even movement, just by opening it up, creating some deadwood, and adding a deadwood feature to almost any garden juniper. Now sometimes it can be too much, but like in this tree, it's almost like a twin trunk. And you can see we've got this part down here, it doesn't really go with this part up here on this tree. So we're gonna create deadwood out of all this back around here, wire this up in some sort of way, and see what we end up with. And I'm going to show you the whole process. That's why I kind of like the trees to be a little further along. Then I can show you more of the advanced processes that I use. And I recommend when you're creating deadwood to leave yourself plenty of options for the deadwood, I guess you'd call it, plenty of length there, because you never know for sure what may look better, and you can't put back on any of the wood you take off. So even though this guy may be shortened way up for the purpose when you're creating deadwood, and it does take a little longer to do it this way, but I recommend leaving a lot of it long, and you can always just nub it off if you decide to, or leave it long, whatever you think looks best for the tree. And the real little ones that won't really be anything left there when you take off the bark, you can go ahead and pretty much cut those off. You can peel them with your hands, whichever way you want to do it. And you don't really want to worry too much about, you know, some of these will break off, some of them will stay. You don't really, you know, some of them are just already weak and some of them are pretty stout. So you just want to take all this foliage off every piece that you're going to turn into deadwood, get it out of there, and probably take that guy down. And we may leave all that on, we'll see. Probably not, I'll probably shorten them up. But another thing I'll show you later on, if you go too short initially, by the time you get that cut edge peeled back, it can shorten sometimes up to almost an inch, depending on, well, I'll show you when I get to that point. But so I recommend leaving yourself a little bit of wiggle room there. We're not going to leave any of these guys. Probably sharp. All right, we're almost there. And on this one's pretty easy. We're just taking this whole side down. So we don't want any of this. Get it out of there. Go ahead and clean up a few other spots on the tree. Okay, so we got the foliage cleaned off. All right, we got the foliage cleaned off now, and we're going all the way down to here. So you can start down there, and you don't really have to worry about the risk of going too far, too much anyway. So you're just going to squeeze all these pieces and all this bark, these limbs. And I'll start with this one to show you too. You're just going to pretty much squeeze, and it'll break away that bark from the wood. Like I said, we'll leave them all long. We'll get all this bark peeled off, and then we'll figure out, you know, create some gin and figure out which ones, if we want to leave them all long. You can see how quick and easy this usually gets to once you give that bark a good squeeze. And this is just adding some age and character to the tree. We're trying to show that, you know, create a story for this tree. This tree's had something that's went on to it, you know, other than the fact Charlie went nuts on it. But later on, whether it got hit by lightning, we don't know what happened. When we see this tree in the future, it just, we know that something traumatic happened that virtually killed off half the tree, and the other half made it through. Don't tell anybody it was me attacking it with pliers. So just keep going. Sometimes you'll get to a few stubborn spots that may need re-squeezed, or you may accidentally pull and one of these come off. Don't worry about it, it's not the end of the world. Just keep clearing it off, and whatever ones you end up with, a lot of times you're gonna want to take some of them off anyway. I left this one real long just to see what it looked like. I could always wire it, twist it up in there, just shorten it or whatever. Still gives me options by leaving it long. This little one will probably end up breaking off. Yeah, like I thought. See that? It's just no big deal. Just keep on it going. Some of the little guys will pop right off. They just weren't meant to stay on there. This little guy stays on. He's got a cool little twist. But if you don't, no biggie. Okay, as you can see, that made a pretty dramatic change in the tree. We've got this still to work on and style up, but we've already got a cool looking little bonsai going on. Now, the only final thing that you can do with deadwood, now you could treat this to make it last longer, or you can let it age, then treat it. I kind of like to leave mine alone. Some of these little ones will probably whittle down to almost nothing. But one thing to instantly make it look more natural and older is that all these tips that you cut off, and I'll try to show you, I don't know how close I can get, but, and I use my fingernail, you can use pliers and squeeze it, but I want to get them to a point. So basically you're going to split into them, and some of the little ones don't really need much, just to, you know, have that look from a distance, a foot or so away. But it's just to create something, and they'll eventually work themselves down. But any of the big ones, you'll want to do something just to get them started that direction of, you know, looking like they were broken off or whatever happened a while ago. Alright guys, so I showed you pretty much how to do the deadwood. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come in here and do some styling on this, maybe even a little bit of wire here and there. I'm not going to show you that. This video, I just wanted to get out there, show you how I do the deadwood stuff. And I'll probably be putting together some wiring once I can kind of wire somewhat, but it looks ugly me getting the wire on. So I may come back and show you with the wire on or whatever changes I do to this, or if I trim it. But that's pretty much the video for today. What I wanted to get shown to you is how to do this. Alright guys, I am done with this guy. I didn't wire up anything. Lighting is horrible. The sun popped out. I'm hoping you guys can see this. But all I did was trimmed up. I cut this, had that leader coming out. I cut it off. I trimmed up a little bit of this just to give it a little bit of shape. Probably could take off a few more pieces here, but I'm going to let this grow out and probably be next spring before I will touch it again, do any kind of more wiring or work or anything like that to it. But we'll let it set, keep it watered, overwinter it, and see what it looks like and go from there. Alright guys, hope you liked that quick video on showing you how to create a gin. Hope you like this tree. It's a cool little tree. If I had to pick a front, that's the front I would pick. Well, you guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, help share the channel, and like always, thanks for watching.